So I'm joined by David and Christine, who are both from the website of the Facebook site.
That's right.
Yeah, and I know we're doing this recording at Aldridge Social Club, where there was a public meeting in January, but we had snow, and so not many people made it. But we did record that, and that is available to listen to. So I'd encourage people to listen to that as well as this chat. But this is more as a resident, and I'd like to ask you guys where we are now. And what can we do, and what are we facing? What are the issues we're facing?
Right, well, first of all, where we are now, next week, we've actually on Saturday the 18th of April, holding two walks into the Croft in Aldridge, and then there's going to be protests on the Croft at 12 noon next Saturday, which is actually part of around 200 protests across the country. So it's a national protest, and we're holding it on the Croft here at 12 o'clock next Saturday.
That's interesting you say that, because I saw a post and I thought national that's not saying everybody in the country is against the sites in Aldridge. This is a national issue.
Yeah, if I could explain that, a lady by the name of Rosie Pearson, the Community Planning Alliance, has asked all the campaign groups throughout the nation to join together and to do individually a group campaign throughout the country, and the people are as far apart as Sunderland and Cornwall. There's over 200 groups nationally that are going to have their personal day of action, and then it will all be uploaded onto the Community Planning Alliance to show government the strength of feeling around the proposed grey belt issue, which is building on greenbelt land. Okay,
so to pick up on that then, am I to take it, for want of a better word, the enemy in all this is the government? It's not the local council necessarily. It's
the government, because they are putting so much pressure onto local council to build in their areas. Councils are being given an amount of development, an amount of houses to build, and government are putting the pressure onto council. And if council don't submit the proportion of houses government want, then the government are just taking it out of council hands.
So this is, as I understand it, is this part of the government 1.5 million new homes in England by the end of their parliament?
Yes. Yeah. And what's muddied the water to make it easier for developers, the government have reclassified land as grey belts. And the issue we have, and the issue the whole country have, is what actually is grey belt? Keir Starmer said to Wendy Morton in the Houses of Parliament, it is disused wasteland and old petrol stations.
And car parks. Did you mention car parks?
He did. Yes.
Yeah, I thought
it didn't say anything about fertile farmland, public spaces.
How many areas are we looking at as individual plots or sites?
At the moment, looking across the Walsall Draft Local Plan and looking at the applications that have been put in so far, there's about 5 of them to Walsall Council. There are about 18 sites across the constituency that Wendy covered. 5 of those, as I say, planning applications have gone in. One of those, Longwood Lane, although the council turned it down, it went to the planning inspectorate and they approved it. Another one, a very small development on Gorse Farm down Lazyhill Road, has been to the council twice and has twice been refused.
Inexperienced in all this, I went onto the website to try and find out what I could on planning, and I've got all sorts of papers and documents I've printed out. But what stage can we still object to those? Can we still send objections in?
Yes, I believe you can. You can, until they actually go into planning committee, people can still object. And this is the issue, and this is what, as a group, we've been trying to help people do. Because anybody that knows nothing about planning and tries to navigate their way through that council site will be absolutely lost. And this has been the issues that we've had with local residents. And a lot of residents aren't even computer literate. And it's almost impossible to do it without accessing
Yeah, you see this one at Bosty Lane, it's got some dates. It looks like it started in July 25.
That's right.
And then it's got a decision dispatched, and it's decision of the council, scoping opinion response issued. Scoping opinion response, and that's it.
Yeah. What's happened with Bosty Lane is that the application was put in, as you say, last year. The planning officers have been putting together a report, and they've had a lot of objections. We were able at one time to tell how many objections, but unfortunately they've taken the number off the planning portal now. For instance, with Stonnell Road, Birch Hill development on the north side of Aldridge, we know that there were over 100 objections put in. The situation with both those sites is that the decision has not yet been made on either of them. The original objection date that they gave has passed, but the planning officers have confirmed to us on several occasions that until the report goes to the planning committee, until the day that that happens and the decision is made, people can still put in objections to the application. And those objections not only can be written objections, people can put in photographs of the sites. For instance, there are quite a lot of photographs that people put in of animals, deer, all sorts of creatures, bats and so on both sites. So they can continue to do that. The next planning committee date is due to be on the 23rd of April, if it's not cancelled with the elections coming up.
I think it will be, to be honest. I think it will be.
If it is cancelled, the next meeting after that is likely to be sometime around the middle of June. So there's still quite a lot of scope for people to put together objections and to put those in. And as a group, the Stop the Build on Aldridge Greenbelt group can help people with that. We're quite willing to provide examples of objection letters and to advise people on doing that.
Okay. Well, I know, Christine, you're probably more focused or more affected by the Birch Lane, but I mean, Bosty Lane, it's obvious to me that 650 houses with one road out back onto Bosty Lane, I sit on that road every morning going to work, and it's just a nonsense on that approach. And I think it should be said, though, this group, you're not anti, you understand there's a need to build houses.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem here is it's using Greenbelt. When I walk on Cookers Nook, down the Dingle, the Beacon Way, and I've got two teenage children who clearly want houses, so we're not anti-houses as such.
No,
absolutely not, but they need to be built in the right areas. Yeah. And you've just sort of hit on the fact that Birch Lane, Bosty Lane and other sites around Aldridge are totally inappropriate for the very reasons you've just said. The infrastructure isn't there. The roads aren't able to cope with the amount of traffic that these developments will generate. You've said the 650 on Bosty Lane. There's 355 on Birch Lane. You double, treble that to each household. How are the local roads going to cope? They're not. There's got to be a complete look into the infrastructure, the schools, the roads, the doctors, the dentists, before you even go to developing and building properties.
And the construction. There's talk of these taking 10 years to do. So
yes.
Construction.
You imagine the upset and the environment.
Somebody's calculated who lives around Stonnell Road that it will be about 180,000 tonnes, I think it was.
18,000 lorry movements to excavate the land. Yeah. And
down
you are taking those loads along access for lorries.
Yeah.
There's a weight restriction down that lane. Yeah. There's photographs of two lorries that can't pass. The lane is so narrow.
There are other factors as well. You mentioned the scoping report with Bosty Lane there, Russell, and as we understand it, that scoping report was done to look at the limestone workings around the Bosty Lane site. We understand from the research that people within our group have done that the whole area along Bosty Lane is riddled with limestone workings underneath. Yeah. And somebody approached one of the mortgage companies and said, if the houses were built on there, would you give mortgages? And the answer they got back was no, because of subsidence risk. With the Birch Hill site on Stonnell Road, there's a slightly different situation. There was years ago some sand and gravel mineral deposits that were excavated there. There are still deposits under that land. There's a very large deposit, probably one of the largest around Aldridge. If they built at the top of the road there on Birch Hill, it would mean that it would actually stop them from excavating all of the minerals from that site.
Yeah, the land actually at the moment is designated for mineral.
Yeah.
Coming back on your point, because I can remember this, and on your Facebook site, Linda Mason's put a couple of press cuttings. I remember back in 2003 when there was a sinkhole on Bosty Lane, and because I remember it being on the radio and they kept saying Bosty Lane is still bossed, but there was a major sinkhole, and I think there was one in the 50s as well.
Yeah, so, very close to one of the sites that has recently come up. It's only for about 41 homes at the end of Middlemore Lane onto Bosty Lane, but that is very close to where that sinkhole appeared.
Right. So to recap then, action. What was? I mean, how did it go on Friday? You've just come away from the Morrisons. You had a table at Morrisons on Friday. That was the 10th of April. Just to put some dates on this, so in case people are listening 10 years hence. So that was the 10th of April, 26. You were at Morrisons, and was that well supported? Did you get questions?
Yeah. Both morning and afternoon.
It was lovely to have the feedback from people. And to sort of try and constantly explain what we've been trying to do for the last 12, 14 months. And people want to help, but they have often thought, how can we help? Now, we have navigated people predominantly on Bosty Lane, Birch Hill, and then other sites as they've become known, navigated people through that process. We had one protest in February, but this particular protest is huge. It's a national protest. People say, what can they do? Turn up.
Yeah.
Please turn up. We've got the support of our local MP, Wendy Morton. We have got the whole area who is against these builds. And if they turn up, what they can do is show their strength nationally with over 200 other campaign groups. And together, we might be able to push government back slightly on this ridiculous grey belt designation. Okay. It needs clarification.
Yeah, it's make your voice heard, really,
yes.
And show that you care about this. And we've been doing all sorts of other things. We've got car stickers, T-shirts, posters, that are being worn around the area, put up around the area. To
just
draw attention, there's a
know.
couple of banners up on Longwood Road, and a number of boards that have been put up, people showing their support for the action that we're taking.
You see, people often say, well, it won't make any difference what you're doing, but it does, and it will, and it has. To this point, to have got where we are has been a huge amount of work on a lot of people. But to get to this point now, to me, is the pinnacle. Before these local elections, to get it out there to government, do you know, people are against this. These developments are not sustainable on greenbelt land. We've got our national food security. Farmland is being absolutely ravaged.
So it's really a matter of let's show the press the numbers of people standing on our craft who are objecting to
That's right.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then collectively it will be joined up
Yeah.
with
it'll-
the wonderful force of social media, and it'll give us a national shout out to government. We're in this together and we are so against what you are doing.
So that is the Saturday the 18th, and there's two walks, isn't there? There's Route A and Route B, both starting at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
We've got Route A starting from Stonnell Road,
That's Linkside Way, Stonnell Road, yes.
and Route B at the junction of Birmingham Road and Bosty Lane.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
it's on the junction by the triangle because there's a specific area where they're meeting. So
Churn Hill, just above there.
is it? Yeah. So people know exactly where they'll
And
need
these
to
will be
gather.
following routes that we did on the 28th of February. We did a similar protest on that day, and we had the BBC and local newspapers came along and covered it, and it raised a lot of awareness.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what we're hoping again will happen.
Yeah.
The more and more people that come, the more that people will be aware, and the more the government will have to sit up and listen
Yeah.
and hear what we're saying.
The slight difference this time is we are making it more of a public get-together as well.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 local food vans attending.
I'm there.
We've also got a busker, bless him, Judah Maley has agreed to come along. So we'll have music, we'll have, hopefully bring all your chairs, bring your tables, sit down, let's have a wonderful gathering and let's all talk together. Let's all draw strength off each other and let's all get behind this disastrous.
And as you say, there'll be pointers or people to help people say,
Yes.
well, this is
Yes.
the next stage, or this is where you
That's
send
right.
your
Yes,
objection.
there'll be a table set out, as David said, like outside Morrison's, and you can come over to David, myself, the MP will be there, people that really know what is going on.
So would it be fair enough to say we could do this again in a few weeks, or maybe we could take any questions or any comments that come our way from Facebook or on Saturday, and then
Yes.
we could have a
Yes,
wrap-up
well,
section.
this is a wonderful medium if it's going out on YouTube to reach people. And then, yes, if they've got questions, they can reach out through you to us to get the answers.
Pre this, I think Christine touched on, we've been going for 14 months. I know of 2 public meetings. You had St Thomas's Church one.
That's right.
You had one here at Aldridge Social Club. And there's been various drop-in sessions because it's easy to forget that people don't use the internet all the time. And some of this, people need help and guidance in how to approach or how to send objections. David, talk us through your latest letter or your last objection.
Yes, one of the things that the
Community Planning Alliance.
thank you, yes, has been promoting is that we write to the Prime Minister, email the Prime Minister through the government website to voice our concerns through emails. So the sort of things that we're saying is that if the Prime Minister is sincere in what he's saying in Parliament, that he should instruct councils and planning inspectors not to allow house building on green fields and farmland. We need houses costing less than 200,000, using brownfield sites first and renovating homes that are no longer in use. So we want him to listen to the voters, to hear the people in this country. And as we've said, on the 18th of April, next Saturday, many of us are going to be making our voices heard. And this will be a protest like never before across the country. And if he doesn't listen, we'll certainly be telling him what we think again at the local elections coming up in May, and in any elections after that date, until the government does listen and hear it.
Yeah.
And we'd like as many people as possible to write to him and make their views known in the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we shall highlight that on the April the 18th. We'll make it available and we'll have the addresses and email addresses to hand out to people so they can do that for us. That's the one thing people have said to me, what can we do to help? That is the big, big thing you can do. Write into the Prime Minister and tell him that you do not appreciate him taking away our country's green land.
As a resident who doesn't understand all of this, but does understand I don't want the impact of it on Cuckoo's Nook and the Dingle and where I walk and where I drive. So thank you for that. And hopefully we can make other people understand,
I hope so.
help them with this.
And your help at the weekend will be appreciated. You can ask the questions. Thank you, Russell.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.